Morning, afternoon, good evening. People already whinging in the chat. Oh, look at you, bearish. Not bearish, it's probably quite bullish actually. If you listen, or if you even contemplate what I'm going to talk about in a bit, which is probably quite a good timeline of how to prepare oneself just in case we have a big run and it might not happen as ferocious as it is. The market will not keep going up forever. Funny that. We will settle down eventually. But hey, still a growing market. Right, I just need to do something on the screen and then I will put my screen fully on so you can see what's happening. I've made a new little screen here just for why not sake. Make it look a bit nicer, I suppose. So how is everyone? Everyone chilling? Everyone looking nice? But yeah, I think we should really get into it, to be fair. I think it kind of makes sense. So let's talk. Where's my screen? Hold on. New streaming set. Oh dear. Making a complete balls up of this. Bosh. Hello. So this is just dropped. This is the information that we need to talk about. We need to discuss. We need to dissect. Because regulation, G20, Financial Stability Board. So, essentially, there's a bit in this article that makes for really good reading. And it makes for good reading because we've got BlackRock have been accepted as an application for the spot ETF. Regulation framework, what's going to happen with the likes of Coinbase, with the custodial side. What's going to happen? Is this all just to get big money in, get the hype, regulation, and then we settle? I say the word settle as in the big caps, Ethereum, probably XRP, Bitcoin obviously. Some of the big boys will probably settle down a little bit. So there may not be that mad volatility. It might be a bit easier to invest in crypto for a lot of people. And then we'll have the low cap coins, the emerging technology, right? So let me just scroll down to a certain thing that they said. Now, obviously, this is a big thing. The FTX kind of collapse has kind of, I think, put people into, what's the word? Gear? Let's get this sorted because things are a bit cacky if things go wrong. But this is the bit that is obviously very, very interesting. Members commit to applying to agreed norms will review how they are put into place by the end of 2025. Now, for most people that understand cycles, 2025 is probably a key year. 1 year after halving. Often we've talked about halving as in the price of Bitcoin is significantly higher 1 year post halving. Whether that is beyond all-time high, I don't know. But that could be the end of the cycle when regulations come in. Regulations could go two ways. The scare of it, realistically, may be a bit shit. But also the factor of it coming in could maybe bring even more money in. So there's a lot of things to ponder here. But I do think, this is my opinion, not financial advice, Bitcoin will probably behave differently. It may not be as volatile. It may not be as crazy. It may not be as mental. Which is kind of what probably a lot of the big boys want. Let's be fair. Now, the fundamentals here is if keyword, speculating, the ETFs do come in and it's all above board and happy days, are people really going to trust it starting off with? Probably not. When there's less volatility, they probably will. And most importantly, then pension funds and other indexy funds with a slice of Bitcoin in them may well start appearing. It's huge. It's huge, right? But the way I see it, there's a lot of things that still need to be done. There's more articles on this in terms of how it all come out. High-level recommendation for regulating crypto assets and global stable currencies. Huge, right? So there's not a word or talking, which is interesting, about central bank digital currencies being a part of this. It's all about cryptocurrency assets, so that's a plus. But the reality is here, we've got all these kind of stuffs here regarding interlinking with TradeFi, the Silvergate debacle, let's be fair, what happened with Silicon Bank Valley. All of this needs sorted out. There's a lot of things that do need sorted out, let's be fair. But in my opinion, I think it's quite a good time for the space to evolve, to become better, become a more mature beast. And I know a lot of cryptocurrency kind of cyberpunks, whatever, the original kind of entity of crypto, don't want this. But realistically, we're not going to grow and become what we want to be without any sort of framework that's going to see us recognized in that kind of financial space. Because what could happen is, you know, we can't, how do you make money? How do you transfer wealth? How do you do this, that, and the other when there's no gateway to do it? Where there's no banks facilitating it? Where there's no money manager kind of element to it? Where we'll just stay still. And what will probably happen if we don't evolve is the world of TradeFi will take, well, they'll take all the technology aspect and they'll implement it into central bank digital currencies, and then that's it. It's gone. So we've got to be somewhat careful with what we do. But I think a lot of the time it is kind of, we are working towards that. Seems to be the best way to do it. We can't be totally off the grid forever. Let's be honest here. I mean, what's the point? So a lot of people often talk about this, about how cryptocurrency will become a, what was it? What did people normally say? An alternative strategy or an alternative currency to the US dollar. The reserve of the US dollar, it's going to overtake the dollar. How do you do that without any sort of regulation? We're never going to do it. So this is huge in terms of where we can go, but kind of scary too. So yeah, there's a lot of information coming out, a lot of feedback. I mean, they've been doing this for a long time. It's pretty big. So yeah, within that time frame, we've had bank collapses, we've had FTX. So yeah, food for thought for a lot of people, I think. But I don't know what everyone else's opinion is on regulation and what could happen, but I just think it's really interesting to see that the proposals want to be put in place by the end of 2025. It makes it just feel like it is going to be that cycle, but we'll see. Whether the bull market started now or not, I don't know. It's a possibility though. Let's be fair here. It's looking really interesting. And then you got this. Have you noticed how the Binance FUD has all of a sudden just vanished? Like Binance and Tether FUD doesn't exist anymore. It's gone. That's interesting in itself. So it feels like it's all just a nice little play. It feels like a little bit of silly bollocks, but that's also a big thing too. So yeah, things looking hunky-dory really. So I'm not too fussed. I do apologise if my throat sounds horrendous. It's because I've got a slight cold. I went outside and I got a cold. Great. Don't touch grass on a weekend. Not fun. So XRP, where are we? We are still ranked 4. Whether it holds on to that place or not, I don't know. It's jumped a couple of spaces, obviously, which is good to see. But yeah, that's huge news. That's the news that kind of kicks a lot of people into touch a little bit. In terms of opinions of the SEC. I was very much thinking that XRP would win, but I was also on the opinion that, does anyone win the SEC? Is it just all rigged? But not that it's a full win yet, by the way. They could appeal it. It could totally change. Solana's had a really good move the last few days. There's quite a few things that have moved recently. There's another one as well. There we go. Bitcoin Cash has been moving ridiculous over the last month because of the halving. Litecoin halving is literally a couple of weeks away, but it's doing shit all. So yeah, feel free to chuck any questions in the chat. We'll go through some stuff. If you want to talk more about other stuff or my opinions on certain things, I do a lot in my Patreon about questions and answer as normally as I can, which is easier said than done sometimes on a video, but it's good to see what the market's doing. And the market, to me, is actually not too bad. This is an interesting proposition in terms of the Bitcoin dominance. This is the others dominance, so this is all the other coins. This is probably tied in with a lot of things. Currently having a little bit of a pop to the upside. I mentioned it in my Patreon video this morning and learning crypto, that this is interesting to see where this goes next. Obviously, it's a huge downtrend. And if you don't know how this system works, it's as low as this possibly can go, you should be buying stuff. And most importantly, when it goes really high again, you should be taking profit. That's just how cycles work, especially in the macro. This applies for every single dominance. So just, yeah, could be interesting to see where we go with that one. But BTC dominance, are we going to get that little mini alt season that we're all praying for in the summer? It'd be quite nice if we do, but it may not happen. Our way. To be honest with you, I don't really know much about it. I can look at the chart though, but in terms of it's AR, is it? Is that? Yeah, it is AR. Oh hello, got an old blue fib on here from years ago. Let's have a look at weekly. Wow, it's at all-time lows. Like, oh, it was at all-time lows. Let's be fair. Still in a bit of an ugly downtrend, but it's a weird one, this one, because some assets have, like, let's be fair here, some assets have done this and just, like, flatlined across a line. Like Polkadot, for example, it's like, it's a flat line. Even Cardano, flat line, technically. But yeah, this one looks a bit more precarious because it's still kind of dropping a bit more aggressively. So yeah, could be interesting. Let's have a little look. So yeah, you had an impulse. You tried to get back out, but it failed, and it created a new low, which is not good. Resistance here. It might go lower, this, to be fair. Depends on the pairs. But that's the bottom on this section. I don't know how old it's going to be. But yeah, that's not looking fun unless it pulls back and creates a higher low and then it gets a level of support around this point. But for me, it could well retest this one because it has created multiple new lows until it gets its momentum back. So yeah, just be careful. Oh, Solana, I can't see Solana doing that. If Solana does that, so if you're thinking the extension of 3, are you getting the gist that it could go up to here? Is that what you're thinking, up here? At nearly $1,000. But no, if that happens, no thank you. I don't think that will happen. Unless you're looking at the other way around. But no, with Solana, I'm very much in a pickle with because I wanted to buy it. I've openly said I'd buy it at a certain price, which was $15 before the FTX crash. However, with the whole world of cryptocurrency and Sam Bankman-Fried and the VCs, as you mentioned, it's a bit of a precarious one. I don't know where this will go. It may well recover quite a bit, but I cannot see it blasting through up here. I just cannot. I mean, it would be crazy if it did. It would also piss a lot of people off. So if we're looking at that sort of bloody hell, yeah, I can't see it doing that sort of move. Personally, I just can't. It's a huge move, monster move, for a big asset as well, for a huge asset as well. It's still into the billions. I mean, look at it. It's like accumulation. It all depends on that law case and stuff like that as well. Could be huge. Yeah, a lot of assets look a bit flat, but they're the ones I like to invest in. The flatliners, the accumulation zones, quite nice. But yeah, it's not too shabby. All in on Moonbeam. You shouldn't be all in on a low cap coin, mate. Come on. Should be like 5 to 10% of your wealth in that, not bloody all in. Risk management and all that. Thing is, Solana's user base is good, but people forget, and people often criticize Polkadot for this, but Polkadot have more user base than Solana. And that's not including developers, by the way, which they also beat it on. There's a lot of elements between hype and gains with a lot of these assets. Like, the one thing that we often forget about is liquidity. When the liquidity has dried up a little bit and there's little pops to the upside, a little bit of hype does make a big difference. This looked pretty shit for a while. It's like, oh my god, this isn't moving. And then it dropped and it found some liquidity and went whoom, bang. So we'll see where it goes, but this is at levels of huge resistance here, at like $30 area. It needs to get above that. Once it gets above this bit, there's a massive gap, and then it could throttle right the way through. But it's all about the steps. that could do a massive run from that point there, because there's a huge gap. It's fucking monstrous, it's massive. So yeah, Solana could be really interesting to see where it goes, but I just don't really trust it, personally. I don't buy narrative coins, by the way. AI, gaming, NFTs, nah, not bothered. Not asked. So which I agree. How do you split charts with fundamentals based? Personally, I just read what Twitter says and where the hype's coming from and volume and all bits and pieces. Or what's coming out, what's next, what's on the agenda, what's the new developments, and you can picture the hype and you can see the hype. When you start seeing a growing user base as well, when you start seeing network effect essentially, and ultimately people just getting excited about something is always a big point, whether that is to take profit, whether that is to buy more, or just ride what you've got. It's just hard work. It's hard work to keep on top of it. But Solana has so much stuff that you can stick to the walls with. Like, look at what Mikey just said, can you tell the time yet? This was the only blockchain that couldn't tell the time, which was mental when you think about it. And it kept crashing, but it still had the user base, the hype. It kind of reminds me, like, I don't know, it reminds me of XRP. Even Ethereum, it's got those people who are dedicated to the, this, I've often said this about a lot of assets. If they've got the community, they'll do all right. Funny enough. And then you get all the, the hardcore people that will promote it no matter what. Kind of like me with Dot, really, but just because I like winding people up, it's quite funny. But yeah, it's just the way it is. Yeah, Injective's getting a lot of hype because they've got like 3 or 4 big developments coming. It's also a really solid asset, to be fair. I quite like Injective. But yeah, we'll see how things go with it. It could be a top mover in the next cycle. Certainly when we look, where is it now ranked? Can't be that far away. There it is, ranked 57 now. It's doing really well. I covered this ages ago. 2020, 2021, I covered this as my undervalued asset. Oh dear. Could have bought it. Well, then again, I had it for a little bit. It didn't do very well for a bit, and then it did okay in the first cycle. But it went up to like 20, oh, there we go, about $21, $22. But now it's at 9. And like when we think about the fact of where it went down to like $1, nearly sub. Oh yeah, it did. No, it didn't. About $1. Well, $1.30. And now it's at 9.20. That's pretty decent going. But the volume is actually pretty decent. Decent asset. It's run quite a bit though. But there's talks about XRP getting added to their ecosystem soon. So that could be fun. XRP could be a massive, massive coup for them. Nice little asset gain. So we'll see. Is Render a solid project for the long term? Don't know. It's very narrative based. I say this often. I still can't get my head around why this pumps so much. Due to probably the GPU cards and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it did this in that cycle, cool, but it had a nice little run, but it's starting to die off a little bit now. And I'm not a fan. I said it just before. I'm not a fan of narratives. They stay hot for a bit and then they get cold and people get dragged into it, and then it's like you're left holding the bag. So I don't prefer jumping in too often unless you're really into that space. But easier said than done though with narratives, because you do get caught up in the hype. I prefer ecosystems and building kind of blocks of the world, if that makes sense, of like blockchain. But we'll see how things go with it. But I think with stuff like that, you need the metaverse to take off a bit, and I don't see where the metaverse is going to crack on anytime soon. Rand's love child. I suppose, yeah, he does talk quite a lot about that actually. But yeah, it got a lot of hype really quickly. It's sustained enough, but it hasn't continued. Like Injective, for example, has kept going. Render hasn't. Plus, also, you got to look at the fact of what's happened with like AMD and Nvidia and stuff like that. Nvidia is still going strong, but AMD is kind of slowing down a little bit, maybe. But we'll see how things go. You still got dry powder? Yeah. I've got dry powder. I just can't really move it yet because I'm moving house in the next couple of months, so I've got to keep my money laying around somewhere just in case. I don't want to spend all my money yet. Imagine that. I've got to go to close off my house and I can't spend any money because I've spent it all on crypto. Oops. Don't think that would work well. Apple's metaverse with Vision Pro will have much more success. Yeah, probably will actually. The problem with that is that could take 5 years to take off because it's only for like, you know, expensive developer kind of stuff, isn't it? I don't even know when it's getting released. So that could be an interesting play. But yeah, the metaverse was, in my opinion, a disappointment. I was like, oh, great. And then it had the ugliest graphics and the most random inflation projects that came out of nowhere. It's like, wow, that's really expensive to do what with it? Buy land? Oh, God. Expensive sort of stuffs. Am I moving sandbanks? No. No. Staying up north, man. I've lived down south and I didn't like it. The only thing I liked was the weather. Everything else I wasn't keen on. It was very expensive down south. I would rather spend this month's money on crypto than move into hotter, humid climate. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm going away in like 37 days to a certain area where it's very hot right now. I'm hoping it cools down. Come back like a bloody fried potato. I'll be absolutely ruined. Just a big old lump. It'd be horrible. No, not Turkey. Cornwall. Actually quite cold in the UK at the minute. It's quite nice. Interest rates, just interest rates. My mortgage is pretty small. Doesn't really bother me. No, I've been to Greece when it was hot, and it's bloody hot there without a bloody heat wave, to be fair. You moved to Florida from Chicago. Oh, I bet you that's a culture shock. Oh, ho, ho. Florida's amazing, but if you're from like the north, it's like, well, it's the same for me, really. It's like, it is quite, it's okay in the UK, but Florida is pretty bloody hot. Especially August time. It's crazy. You'll melt. North Canada. I like Canada. One of my favourite countries. Spent a lot of time there. But yeah, enjoy the Florida heat. It is quite warm. It's good though. I do quite like it. Anyways, what should we look at? Anything we should do or not do? Let's have a little look at what's happening today. So it's a bit shit today. These weekly charts are doing my head in though. Look at this, right? If anyone looks at like higher time frames, you'd be like pulling your hair out right now. Look at that, it's crap. It's undecided. That is a honking candle. It's like pulling our pants right down. Still bullish-ish. But yeah, let's have a little look at some altcoins. Obviously, the best one at the minute currently, you could probably argue Solana. It's starting to get into a bit of a rhythm, but it could, as I said before, slow down. Depending on where it goes from this point. Are we going to stop and turn around here? This is a potential level where it's kind of going to sit on, but a little bit higher, $30 could be a little bit of a pain in the ass. But yeah, we'll see. Middle of summer, people not in front of a PC. August, ooh. Well, yeah. Can get quite warm in August in a lot of places, to be fair. Let's have a look at old XRP. That's a mega move, by the way. So we've got this level here. Visually just pointed out. Hello. Is it going to go back down to 61 cents? That's a good question. A question I've just thought of myself. Oh, it's not too far away from the 618. Could be interesting. My throat is killing me today. Yeah, it's a bit of a jump, isn't it? People will be so annoyed if it goes down here. See if it's a fake out or not. I would like it, to be honest with you, I'd like it to go a bit higher. It'd be quite nice to see what it does. I just want to see. That's actually, there's a good point. Where is the volume on XRP? So it's fucking 3.5 billion still. That's ridiculous. So it's still looking pretty damn strong. Volume on Coin. I bet you Coinbase have made a bit of money this week. 46 million on Coinbase. It's pretty good. Kraken's got a decent chunk, so they'll be probably pretty happy actually. But Binance is just leading the way. So yeah, that's interesting to see how much volume that's got. It's ridiculous. But yeah, whether it's a fake out or not, we'll see. What else have we got? It's hard to decide whether to go all in Bitcoin or just 20% in odds. Oh, I don't know. To be fair, my bags have been packed for a while, so I'm quite happy. Mantle looks decent, but I'm not 100% sure what it's going to do. I didn't really like... I wanted to have an exchange token, so I had BitDAO, thinking, oh, it works with the Bybit token, or the Bybit exchange. However, when the SEC started going after Coinbase and Binance, I was like, fuck this. So I got rid of it. Couldn't be bothered with it. But no. Zcash, yeah. Casper is getting promoted all over the gaff at the minute. It's literally I've got a couple of people that on every single video they just write Casper, like as a comment, just Casper. Stuff like that annoys me. It's like, why just instead of just putting a token name, tell me what it is. Just give me it. Give me the information, and I might look at it. But yeah, I've never really looked at it, to be honest with you. I don't like to give my honest thoughts too much on YouTube because people just cry because I'm pretty brutal. BTC will probably be over 40k before the ETF's approved. The ETF could take over a year to be approved. It won't just be a tomorrow kind of jobby. So, be a while off, yeah, I think. That's my opinion on it. I don't know what the time frame is, but usually an ETF takes a while. We've been waiting for a long time for ETFs in spot, and we've got a couple of futures ones, and the futures ones took forever, so it's not the sort of thing that happens tomorrow. At least the application's been accepted. That's a plus. No reaction off that, though, at all. Anyone want a call? Bro, it's killing me. Moving's a nightmare. I hate moving. Can't be bothered moving next week. Well, not next week. It's like probably it won't be next week, but it's coming up pretty bloody soon, by the way. So it might catch me out. Never looked at Edgeware, to be fair. I don't really look much at altcoins these days. I do my buy-in and then I just set and forget. That's it, done. I pick what I want to pick. I leave it because when you start looking at too much, you'll have like a list of 50 coins and you're like, oh great, when am I going to buy all these? I don't know. I don't think BlackRock are going to do that. They've been talking up Bitcoin quite a lot. I think they've been buying somewhere, or they've taken on assets that have Bitcoin. I don't think they're going to upset the apple cart. Personally, if they're doing an application, they're not going to because this is my logical thinking. If there is going to be a hell of a drop in the market and we see some liquidations and liquidity and companies go under, even banks go under, the SEC are going to go, nah, we're not having you. No chance. I think they're going to do it the other way around. I think they're going to have a happy, positive, ideal, lovely looking market, and then the SEC will probably go, yeah, okay. That's how I think it's going to be. If they were going to do this and the legwork, For them to go public with a press release has already been a lot of legwork done, probably over years, a couple of years preparation for it, at least. They've probably already had some sort of situation in place where they know what they're going to do. But that's my personal thought on it. I cannot see them just going to go and nuke the market. Some people on my YouTube still think, oh, we're going to go down to like 10k. How many companies will go under at 10k? A lot, I reckon. Personally, that's the way I look at it. But we'll see how things go. But it may well be a big, massive jolt up from there. We'll see. I don't know. But I cannot see them wiping people out just for their own gain, because you're eating their arm that feeds you, really, by doing that. Even though BlackRock are pretty brutal in how they do business. So I think they'll be careful around crypto, because it's a massive reputation as well. Because if they get it wrong, it's a whole reputation gone, isn't it? So we all know how it is with the world of building companies and wealth funds. It can be destroyed overnight. So it's an interesting pondering thought. Zilliqa for the bull run, don't know. I can't check what Zilliqa do because they blocked me on social media. I know. Yeah, there is liquidity. There's a liquidity all over the place. People are trying to get it, but I cannot see us holding. See, this is the thing, right? Obviously, the trend can change, and it's very easily changeable, right? But the way I look at it right now in this current state of play, we've gone to a big level. We could go much higher, don't get me wrong. But there'll be a point where we'll hit a certain level, and it will just probably keep going because everyone will get excited. Look at the YouTubers that come in. Look at all the money that comes in, because they've got no emotional kind of impulse control. This is why I say just buy the bottoms, because the idiots will buy higher. And then if BlackRock have been accumulating money and they've got enough in the bank to do it, which they probably do, they could probably do whatever the hell they want with it. And then maybe later on in the next bear cycle, they will then sell their position, rebuy back low, and just accumulate that way. Just depends how they want to do it. It also depends how much money they're going to make on it. They might make loads of money in the ETF itself. Probably will, actually. But yeah, there's a lot of people going, we're going to go below 12k. It's like, really? Based on what? Unless something really breaks and fundamentally dies. But this is the most resilient asset we've got around at the minute. It's ridiculous. It's been crazy. And then we've got, I don't want to say it too loud, but I have been talking a bit about a melt-up today. So, in learning crypto today, there's an offer, by the way, if anyone's interested, at the top of the screen, about a potential melt-up. What about if we are witnessing a melt-up here? Potential, it's scary, really. The economy is crashing. It's a recession. It's going to the worst crash ever. And then this is the chart. I thought, okay. That's the thing. There'll be a way around it. They can buy certain things and may have assets around them with Bitcoin, maybe. Who knows? But it depends how much Bitcoin they need as well to facilitate. It may not take off as well as we like. There might be a lot of people that are like, I don't really want to buy into that or buy into the ETF because of regulation clarity. So they might not even need that much. But we'll see. Depends, huh? The Canadian ETF took a bit of time getting off the ground as well. So, and that was that 40 billion? Not much. This one could be like 10 times the size of that easily. Imagine those buy orders coming through. Just need to liquidate Sailor and we're sorted. It's unlikely though. Yeah, 26, 27 could be an interesting point. If we are genuinely going in a melt up here, it could be really interesting to see what happens next. The dollar's in a bit of a downtrend. And the equities are flying. Even the FTSE is actually holding pretty strong. But it's all fun. What's my favourite decks? I don't have any. Never really looked at them. The only one that I've looked at is the poker one, the poker decks. But I don't like the branding of it. To be fair, I want them to change the name. GMX is alright though. The thing with BTC and the halving data is it often goes to a certain point, then 100 days after halving, it's usually lower when halving started. There's always a sell-off. And then a year later, it's usually much higher. It's interesting. It's weird how it works. It's like every single time for the last halvings we've had, every single halving, we've gone up towards a halving point and then we sell off and then we recover and we just keep going for like 2 years. It's crazy. But then you've got presidential elections and stuff like that, all those kind of things in the background that work towards it, of having a strong economy, this, that and the other, rallies, etc., is always positive for the economy whenever they do it. So yeah, it's crazy. I do think there will be an economy crash, but I can't see it happening in the next couple of months. I just think the interesting point of this next few weeks will be earnings. Is tourism coming back online? Are people buying more again? Are companies going to be healthier? And then that will make the stock price go up even higher, and then more of that incentive for like the bull cycle again for the stocks and stuff. It all depends on the property market though, and then the bond market and all that kind of stuff. But it's flashing some warning signs, but we'll see we'll just see what happens really. The 12k crowd are flapping, yeah. I mean, I was very vocal thinking like 15 to 12k would be a great place to buy, and that's when FTX crashed and we went to like 15,600, but I was buying not long after that thinking, wow, the second biggest exchange just went kaboom. Why am I not buying? And I did. I was buying over those those like that 6 week period post it. I was buying up and I'm thinking, you know what, I sold near the top and I bought on the FTX crash, and like a lot of people gave me a lot of stick. It's on my YouTube video. It was one of my pinned videos actually, not too long ago, but the amount of stick I got over the last few months of like, oh my god, you're all in. And then people are like, it wasn't a bad shout really. No, it wasn't. I mean, I've survived almost 8 months being in the market and made passive income. That was kind of the goal. But you can't predict anything that's going to happen. Tomorrow something can go wrong. Massively wrong. But it's all about being in my opinion anyways. Yeah, commercial mortgages are always a problem. The thing is, banks and mortgage brokers, they get too cocky, they get too confident, they try and look at sales figures and they try and get as many over the line, and then they cut short. They make shortcuts, don't they? Let's be fair. And then all of a sudden, one card crumbles and the whole deck comes down. It's like, oh, shit. My optimism. To be fair, I've never even heard of it. Can't speak. SLP. They put 5k on SLP now. What's SLP? So if Bitcoin goes to 150,000, then it corrects all the way down to say 30k. That's a 80% drop. That's roughly what we've done in the previous cycle, by the way. It's crazy. Smooth love potion. To be fair, you bought into something that's created off a really dodgy coin. I think that is it. Is a Binance launch that Axie or whatever it's called. It was just a bit meh. Not nice. Absolutely shafted people, I think. I'm not keeping my eye out on any new place, by the way. My bags are packed. If I buy anything, it'll be a parachain project through my crowd loan reimbursement from October. So maybe there may be 1 or 2 new projects, or like some really small crowd loans potentially, but nah, my bags are packed. My methodology, and I talk about this in my Patreon quite a lot, is buy as low as you can, buy solid assets in the bear market that are working, developing, and doing things, and then just wait and try not to get caught up. Because I've lost more money by being stupid in the bull market, by riding hype or riding the narratives, and then all of a sudden just it fizzles out because people move on very quickly, and I don't like that. I'd rather buy as low as I possibly can, get them multiples, let them go, and then just wait and just chill out and relax. But yeah, that's just the way I am. What's my thoughts on Xcoin? Yeah, it's annoying, isn't it? I get so many requests on this, and I'm like, I don't know, I've never heard of that one before. I'll tell you how the website looks. You should be doing your own research, boys and girls. I'm just a normal 32-year-old lad from the north of England who knows how to, I don't know, more psychologically guess the market more than most people, which is probably quite a good little perk, really. Experience counts. Once you start seeing people write things and say things or get fearful, you do the opposite of what they do. Like all the big influencers, do the opposite. If they're buying it, you don't buy it. If they say it's crap, buy it. Literally. I tried to buy Ethereum in March 2020, so I think a lot of people know this story. So openly talk about this. I'm not bothered. This is one of a learning point, and I think people should listen. I got a little bit greedy with Ethereum, right? So what I was doing, I can't remember. Let's have a look. Is it this? Yes, it is. So here's a learning point for all people. I had orders, right? So see this here, it went down to there, right? This is really annoying. So I had orders for Ethereum, like down here. This was on Learning Crypto as a video ages ago. And I say to people, don't get bloody greedy, right? Because I've learned from this one. I was trying to buy Ethereum down at these new lows, thinking, right, I'm going to get freaking loads here. It popped. But most people know what I bought not long after it. I bought Zilliqa. Zilliqa then made me a lot of money. Actually, I made more money with Zilliqa than I would have done with Ethereum due to the multiples, which is always quite good. So considering if we're looking at, hold on, bloody hell. Can we look at, yeah, kind of. So if we're looking at this sort of area, so even down to here, like it made decent run, but actually I made quite a lot more with Zilliqa because I was able to. I would never have held onto Ethereum as long as I did with Zilliqa. So yeah, I was quite lucky in that sense. But yeah, don't get greedy. But yeah, I was pretty lucky, to be fair. So yeah, when I say to people, don't get greedy because you might miss, and that's what I did. I totally missed. I appreciate it, Lee. FOMO makes it does. You were up 800k and held a low cap to the ground. Wow. Oh, that must have hurt. Must have hurt. I remember my first cycle, and you've probably seen the story. I turned $2,000 into basically $250,000 in, was it 9-10 weeks, with how fast the ICO boom happened, right? It was crazy. And I watched a lot of that just disintegrate, and it hurts. It does. Even now I think back thinking, wow, if I was better at taking profit then, I would have way more money now because I would have obviously built more. But yeah, there's a lot of stories in Learning Crypto about stuff like that. It's like, you get your first cycle out the way, you make your mistakes. The second cycle is where you really understand and you get much better, massively better. It's ridiculous, but it does hurt. But at the end of the day, it could be a lot worse. Some people create debt, and that's the worst thing because they get caught up in emotions and they go along with what, I don't know, certain influencers will say, oh, just get this collateral loan on this lending platform like, I don't know, Celsius, for example, and ruin their lives even more. So yeah, as long as you're not creating debt, that's the main thing. But yeah. Sometimes it's better being exposed than not, but it sounds dumb, doesn't it, right? But as long as you're not buying like up here or here, where it's already ran like a gazillion percent, there's stuff that you'll look at you thinking, nah, that bollocks to that. But another thing that people do, even though you're saying you get caught up on getting your cost average low or the base cost low, people buy and keep buying and keep buying and keep buying and keep buying all the way up on the dollar cost average up and make it worse. This is why I say just buy as far away from all time as possibly as you physically can, and set a point where you are going to say, nah, I'm not buying anymore. Right? So maybe Ethereum might be 2k, for example, randomly. Right? It might be less than that. Depends where you think the ceiling is. Right? But people do the dollar cost average up. It's like, okay, my first order was $800, but I'm going to buy some at 2k. You know, it kind of ruins that $800 order, and you make less money. It's like, oh. So you got to be so careful. But it hurts when you miss out on orders and then you start chasing. Sometimes patience works. Not all the time, though. If you've not yet done so, please slap the like button. It helps. My YouTube channel has grown quite nicely lately. Added memberships on there and everything. Done all kinds of cool shit. But yeah, having quite a good little growth spurt. Maybe because the bulls are coming back and it's normies are coming back. Am I from Yorkshire? No, I'm not. I'm from Cumbria. I'm from the Lake District. It's beautiful. So when people tell me or ask me, are you ever going to move because of taxes? Are you going to go to a hot climate? Are you going to do this? I'm like, no. I live in the best county in the UK, in my opinion, the best county in the UK. It's beautiful. If anyone likes adventures and hiking and stuff, I highly recommend this county. But no, I'm not from Yorkshire. Near enough, though. Not that far away. But yeah. That's like 15 minutes on my doorstep. It's beautiful. Lovely. I'm not... No, not Keswick. Near... Kind of. I actually... used to work in Keswick, though, when I was about 18 years old. But yeah, I used to work in Keswick. So I'm not that far away. But no, it's a nice place to be, personally. But yeah, you know what's going to happen next bull cycle? Everyone's going to rush towards like Portugal or somewhere like, I want to avoid taxes, and all of a sudden Portugal will be like, give us your money. So yeah, it's kind of no point of it. Yeah, to be fair, I do enjoy doing the live streams. It's a lot better than what it used to be. I played also. Nothing wrong. There's plenty of things wrong with Portugal. I'm joking. I love Portugal. It's amazing. Yeah, some tax laws are really different in Berlin. Like Germany's one's really interesting. Like it can be beautiful if you time it right, but it can also be the biggest, worst nightmare ever. Thinking, oh, yeah, imagine you being, I don't know, 6-7 figures up, and you're thinking, yeah, this is amazing, but oh shit, I can't do it. I'd pay the taxes just to get, because what if, like we just talked about it, I mean, watching a coin go up like ridiculous monies and all of a sudden it's worth nothing. It's like that. It's like, it's a balancing act. Yeah, me too. At the end of the day, you subconsciously are trying to make money, and we all know that there's going to be a trade-off between taxes and all. Even if you're buying and selling houses, right? Or if you bought something and you've sold it for a profit just by chance, we all know there's like tax involved. It's just one of those things. And if you're getting involved in any sort of investing, whether that is trading, freaking just investing in anything, stock, shares, I don't know, crypto, you know there's going to be taxes. You've just got to kind of get on with it, really. It's annoying, but I do wish it was a bit easier to do or less complicated. But no. There was a lot of people were trying to move, and like, I think a lot of people were doing it for clout, really. going to Portugal and stuff, and I'm hiring out this villa because I've got this apartment meeting and I've got to do this and that with my account, and then all of a sudden just went quiet. Like, oh, are you in Portugal or not? Also Dubai as well. Dubai's crazy. Nah, no thank you. Not for me. I'd rather go on holiday and enjoy certain things. Is this channel just you blowing your own trumpet? No, not really. People like to hear experience versus, well, people that have not done it. There's a lot of YouTubers that are big, but they've never been around. Like, you should really look into when they built their channel. Like, the previous cycle was really interesting because a lot of people blew up, but they never experienced a bull or a bear cycle before. They just experienced what they were in. And we seen what happened. People got destroyed. Which is why I created a company to kind of stop that. In 2018. Way before. Yeah, Coinly is fantastic to help. It can be a pain in the ass, so you got to make sure you get it right, but at least Coinly takes a lot of the weight off it. Certainly when you're looking at, obviously, the blockchain records and like your wallet data, but there's some things that do go wrong, so you got to make sure it's right. But at the end of the day, you're making a conscious effort to kind of make it as easy as possible using that, where some people don't. Some people are like, I'm not taking profits because I don't want to pay tax. It's like, well, hodl forever? But that's one thing, certainly in the UK, we're in charge of our own destiny because we can decide when to take profits, or why we take profits, how much profit we take, and then obviously that will then dictate how much tax we're paying. So we can be more tactical with it, but it depends on how much you make. And then once you're over the threshold, it's like, oh, balls, whatever you do. So I was very conscious about taking profit at a certain point, like 2-3 years ago, thinking, wow, I'm at the point where, like, should I take profit or not, or should I just wait to the next tax year? But sometimes it's like, oh, nah, it's pointless. It's pointless trying to second guess it. Oh, dear me. What else is happening? Right, one final check of the charts before I run away, because my throat is in pieces today, and I've got a live stream tonight on Learning Crypto, so my voice might be in the mud later. That's going to be fun. So, Matic, hello, what were you doing? Needs to get above here. I've got a feeling that's going to, I don't know, we'll see. Litecoin has been a disappointment. Your halving is in less than a month. Get going, start moving. Ethereum stuck in that little range again. Dogecoin's just Dogecoin. BTC is just chilling as well. BNB consolidating. Yeah, it's not looking grand, is it? But we'll see how things go. Yeah, there's always APIs. APIs suck, annoyingly. I like to use the wallet data from the hard wallet, which is usually pretty good. But yeah, often APIs are a bit meh. I don't mind being out a little bit. It's not going to change the biggest discrepancy, but as long as they're not out by like £500,000, should be fine. Anyways, appreciate everyone turning up. I'm going to jump because my throat is in pieces. But yeah, be back on Monday. No more Friday live streams. Going to bin them. And we'll do it on every Monday. Enjoy, everyone. Have fun.